So, have you ever wondered what shelter animals think or feel? Is it possible that they dream of the perfect forever home? Do you know that often a rescue animal is returned to a shelter because they're not a good fit with humans? Please share in the comments if you've had any experiences like that, or if you know about this situation. Yes or no would be great. I'd love to hear about your experiences with this. So, today I'm going to share with you a story about this amazing rescue dog and his journey to his perfect forever home and the role that animal communication played. So I want to welcome, though, new people. So if you're new, we have a lot of new people in the cafe. So if you're new, please write new in the comments so we can welcome you, so I can welcome you, so all of the group members can welcome you. We have this great group and community of animal lovers right here in the Animal Lovers Cafe. So please let us know if you're new by putting new in the comments. And if you're new, you don't know me, and my name is Janet Dobbs of Animal Paradise Communication and Healing, where my greatest joy is to help you discover your unique way to communicate with animals and all that is. Yeah. Oh, and hi. So before we get going, or actually as I'm getting to going, how can an animal communicator empower rescue animals and help them find their perfect forever home? Have you ever thought about that? So instead of us, we humans, telling the animal what to do and making decisions for them, have you ever thought about empowering the animal? Well, I'm going to tell you this great story, an experience of mine, actually, not somebody else's experience, and this dog named Jake. So I'm going to tell you about a dog named Jake. He changed my life forever and made me look at rescuing and shelter animals in a whole different way. So first I want to tell you a little bit about the rescue that Jake lived at. So the rescue that Jake lived at is about 45 minutes away from here, and it was really nice. I'd never been there until this volunteer called me to talk to Jake. So all of the dogs, so Jake was a dog. All of the dogs there, most of the dogs lived in these really big buildings, several long buildings, and it had room after room after room after room for each of the rescue dogs that lived there. But they were all in these big buildings. But then there's this place, I called it Dogtown. They didn't call it Dogtown, but I called it Dogtown because it's just the coolest place. So there's 2 rows of dog houses. And so each house is like a separate house that the dogs live in. And it's not like this little thing that's about as big as them where they're cramped in there. Literally, there's a front porch on each house. You can sit in a chair on the front porch, a human you, with the dogs, hanging out wherever they want to go in. You can walk through the door of the dog house without having to stoop down. And each house had a bed for each dog, and then a chair or 2 or a couch or something for a human to sit in. Of course, that's where the dogs lived, right? They hung out there. But not only did they have this really cool house, and each house had their own separate air conditioning and heating, and on top of that, as if that's not good enough, right? They had music, so they could decide what kind of music that dog or the 2 dogs that lived in a house, no more than 2 dogs in a house, liked. So how good is that, right? I wanted to live there. I actually kind of like to hang out there. But on top of that, they had their own front and backyard to play in. And then each row, so there were like 1 row of dog houses and another row of dog houses. They had chain link fences from the bottom up to the top, so the dogs could see their next door neighbors on either side, and they could see the dogs across the way. So the volunteer that was taking care of some of these dogs in Dogtown contacted me, and she said, I've got this dog that I really love. His name is Jake, and I'd really like for you to talk to him. And I'm like, yeah, of course. And she said, Jake takes care of other dogs. His whole time that he's been here, he takes care of another dog, helps them, he protects them because they're scared, and he gets them ready for their forever home. And Jake's last charge just found their forever home. So Jake doesn't have anybody right now. They're waiting for somebody new to come. But I'd really like to know, this is what the volunteers said, I'd really like to know, does Jake want his forever home? I'd really love for him to have a home. Would he like that? Or please let him know that he has a forever home here. He can always stay here. He'll always be safe. He can spend the rest of his life here. But if he wants a forever home, I would love to help him get that. Find that forever home. And I said, sure, of course, I'd love to talk to Jake. So, yes, I'm talking about FOHA. Yes, I am. Friends of Homeless Animals. That was the particular shelter rescue. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I meet Jake, and we have a little chat, and I listen to him. And I said, so Jake, your buddy Sally is really concerned about you, loves you so much, wants you to be happy. Would you like a forever home? Would you like a human? And he was like, what? No, my job is to take care of others. I said, well, what if you could have a forever home where you could do that too? And he was like, She was like, I have to think about it. He couldn't comprehend it, right? I was just kind of blown away. In a way, I was a little bit sad. I thought, how many other animals are like that? They don't know that they have a choice in the matter. So I said, so Jake, if you had a perfect ideal forever home, what kind of a human would you like? Would you like one human, like the adult, or two? Would you like a male or a female, or would you like a couple, so a male and a female, or two females, two males? What would you like? And he's like looking at me like, I never thought about that. I said, and then also think about it while you're thinking about it. Think about it while you're thinking about it. Would you like children, like teenagers, smaller kids like elementary school, little bitty ones, babies? How do you feel? Do you like them? Do you not like them? What would your ideal be? And he's like, I don't know. Would you like other animals to live with you? Dog, cat, horse, bunny, anything. So start thinking about what would make you the happiest in the whole wide world. And he's like, I just, wow, that's a lot to think about. I said, and take it a little bit deeper. Would you like to live in the city where you'd probably be in an apartment or maybe a townhouse? It's really, busy, lots of activity going on, or a suburb, or the country. So a suburb where you could live in an apartment, a townhouse, a house with a small yard or a medium yard, or maybe you want to live in the country where there's acres and acres of land and lots of other animals and, that kind of a life. And he's like, well, I never thought about any of that. So I said, you think about this, take your time, and when you're ready, when you've decided, this would be my dream come true, just give it to the universe, because you're here in Dogtown and the sky's above you and everything's around you. And so just turn it over to the universe and they're going to come. And so he said, what if the wrong human wants to take me home and they're not the right one for me? What do I do? And so I said, that's a really good question. So you are in control. And he was like, me in control? No, everybody tells me what to do and when to do it. I said, no, this is your life and you get to choose. So if somebody comes up and they don't want you, you don't want them. You're like, oh gosh, I don't like them. But they're like, oh, I like him. Just turn your back on them. Don't growl. Don't go after them, because that's not a good thing. Just, you can turn your back on them and ignore them, or you can just take a little nap. And again, ignore them. And they're going to move on to somebody else. He was like, oh, I never thought about that before. I like that idea. And he came up with a few ideas of his own. So what happens a lot of times with animal communicators, they have their own agenda. So they'll come in and tell the dog what to do, tell the dog what his options are, and not give the dog a choice. And I like to think of it as empowering them. And it could be a dog, a horse, a cat, a rabbit, a bird, any animal that's in rescue. You can let them know that they have a choice in the matter, that they can call on their ideal humans or family, whatever the situation is, that they can feel it in their heart and their soul, and they can just get really, really clear and put it out there to the world. So I would love to hear what you might think about this idea. So let's see if I can do this. So you've been volunteering at a shelter for 20 plus years. Wow, that's amazing. So thank you for what you do. And you understand, what being a volunteer, it's not easy. And lots of times you can fall in love with the animals, of course, and you want the best for them. And I'm sure you've seen the examples where the animal is brought back. If they're lucky, they're brought back to the rescue or the shelter that you are at, and it wasn't a good match. But that wouldn't have happened if the people at the rescue could have asked the animal, "Who do you want to be with? What would your ideal be, and who do you not want to be with?" Like maybe children aren't a good mix for them. You don't want to match them with a family that has children then. So listening to, or maybe they don't want to live in a city. They need land where they can run. Or maybe they want to be in an apartment. It's so important to listen to the animal. So the story continues. It doesn't end there. So I told the volunteer what I had told Jake, and and he didn't tell me. So she was just working with him. And about a month, maybe 2 months later, she called me and she says, "Could you please check in with Jake again?" She says, "I want to make sure that this is the right family. Could you see what Jake's point of view is?" And she told me about the family. And so I was like, "Oh, hey, Jake, congratulations. It sounds like you have the real family. But Sally wants to know, is it really the right family? Because she wants you to be happy. She really wants you to be happy. So tell me about your family and about your home." So I said, "So tell me about the dad." And he goes, "Oh my God, I love my dad. He's so amazing. He takes care of people just like me." And I was like, well, what do you mean? So it turned out the dad was a paramedic. Takes care of people that just like Jake would do, taking care of a buddy who was very stressed, a new arrival, often, he says, "I love my dad so much, and tell my dad that he can bring any of his worries or troubles to me. I understand. He can tell me anything. I know that his job is hard, and he sees and does things that, can be troubling. And my dad has a big heart. So just let him know," I try to let him know, "that I'm here to take care of him." And I was like, "Wow, Jake, you're really amazing." So I said, "So how about the mom? I was told to let you know that she's going back to work in a month." And he just lit up. "Oh my God, my mom, she's so wonderful. I love her." I said, "But they're concerned that when she goes back to work, you're going to be lonely." And he goes, "No, I'm going to be just fine. And, as long as she's happy, that's great. I'm so happy." I was like, "Okay, so they have 2 teenagers. How about," and before I could go like, "How about that?" He goes, "Aren't they great? They're just amazing." And I'm like, "Really?" He says, "Oh, I love them, and they love me, and they play with me, and we have so much fun together, and I take care of them." And what I didn't know is this family had adopted a dog from the same rescue about 6 months earlier, and they wanted a friend, a companion, because they were afraid that that dog was lonely. And so I said, "So Jake, tell me about the dog that you're living with." And he takes his arm and goes like this, as if he's putting his arm around his buddy. And he goes, "See, I have somebody to take care of, so I can still do my job." I was like, "Wow, Jake, that's just wonderful." And there's one more thing, Jake. The volunteer Sally told me to talk to you about the cat. He goes, "Oh, the cat." I said, and he goes, "No," he stopped me. He's like, "I know they love the cat. I don't get it." I said, "But you can't eat the cat," because Jake was known for chasing cats and going after them. And he goes, I promise I will be good. They love this cat. I do not get it. I don't get it at all. I swear. I don't see what they see in the cat. I'm trying though. But I'm so happy. We're just a really happy family, and I'm tolerating the cat. And the cat kind of keeps its distance from me, so we're tolerating each other and we're finding our way. So that was that part of the story. So if you have any comments or questions, anything you'd like to share about this topic, about communicating with animals, rescue animals, getting to see their point of view, please share it in the comments. I'd really love to hear, or see what you guys have to say. But in the meantime, we'll go on to the final part of the story, because this is pretty amazing. So about a year later, I get a call from the volunteer. She says, could you please check in with Jake? And I said, well, only with the family's permission, because it's theirs, not yours anymore. So there's ethics involved here. But sure, I will. So she told me the reason she wanted me to check in with Jake was the mother had died suddenly from cancer, and she wanted to know if Jake was okay. And so I tuned into Jake, and he was really calm, but very happy. He said, see, they need me. I'm in the perfect family. We're grieving together, and everybody's in shock, but I can take care of them. Don't worry about me. We're good, and I've got this. So that just touched my heart and my soul, and I've never forgotten about him. And the possibilities that can happen when you listen to the animal and see who and what they want, and make sure that they're happy too. It's not just about we humans. It has to be a two-way street and a two-way conversation. Yeah. So that's the story of Jake. But can you see how telepathic communication, listening to the animal that's in the rescue, it could be a horse, a dog, a cat, a bunny, a bird, doesn't matter who they are, but to be able to listen to what their wants and needs are and what they don't want would help them find the right forever home and find the perfect match, so the volunteers and the owners of the rescues can match everybody up with the right match, right? So there won't be, the sad thing is when they're brought back. Well, it's sadder when they're not brought back, but that it wasn't a good experience, because there's so many animals that's happened with. But what if you could say, why? What is it? Why do you keep coming back? What is it that's not working out with these families that say they want you? What's going on with you? To be able to find out from the animal's point of view, it would change everything, don't you think? I mean, I know it would, because I have worked with volunteers at many rescues and shelters, and it does make a difference. And when the volunteers or even the management goes like, wow, okay, this is really life-changing, it just makes life so much better for everybody concerned. So yeah. So if you'd like to learn anything more about how you can communicate with animals, I invite you to look in the description below. I'll have it posted. The beginning animal communication workshop that you can do at your own pace. And so you can connect with animals and listen to them. So it's all about listening. It's a two-way conversation. And so often we humans are going, you need to do this and da 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 da. And they're like, well, what about what I have to say? You're not listening to me. So we need to sometimes take the cotton out of our ears and put it in our mouth and listen to them. It changes your world. It changes your life to hear their point of view. And as a rescue person, often communicators can be afraid of what an animal might tell them, afraid of some kind of abuse, or something that we as humans don't like to know about or don't want to hear. And I'm here to tell you that most animals don't want to talk about that. They will if they're kind of forced or asked, but lots of times they just don't want to talk about it because they're in the moment. Our animals live in the moment. So thank you, Page Rocks. You've had a few dogs in Dogtown. Oh, that's really wonderful. I'm so happy that you have an animal communication group and that you chat with some dogs. That's so helpful. So keep this in mind and listen and empower them. I'm so happy that there's more people doing this, and it's so important because, and also supporting the volunteers, because it's hard work, especially if they're at a shelter. So thank you so much for sharing that, and please share more in the comments and get a conversation going with each other. Oh, hi, Stuart. Whoops. Hi, Stuart. It's you. So welcome, and I'm so glad that you're here, and thank you for sharing that, and thank you for the work that you're doing. That's wonderful. And just sharing with others, and thank you so much. That makes me so happy. You made my day, and it's so good to see you. So I'm so glad you were here. And also, for those of you that please like and subscribe, because then you'll get notifications when the next live is on or when there's a new video posted. You don't want to miss anything. We have all kinds of topics that are going to be coming in the future, and you're not going to want to miss a one, I promise. And there's going to be lots of new guests, and so that's that. So I just want to thank you all for being here with me. Luna's gone. Max is still here. My kitties, they're usually here hanging out, kind of sending little messages to you guys, and just having a really good time. So thank you for stopping by the Animal Lovers Cafe. I'll be back here with or without somebody next week, so I hope to see you then. In the meantime, you can just play a little music to kind of get us in a nice little mood. And thank you for being here. Have fun with your animal companions. Have a wonderful rest of your day or night, wherever you are in the world. Have a great weekend, and I will see you all. Take care, and have fun with your animals. Don't forget. Bye. Take care.